Hello and welcome to Accelerated Menu Tutorial. Let's begin by opening the program. By default, the program is always designed to open at the home page. In order to access the program, we need to enter a password. Click anywhere in between the orange shaded rectangle and type in EDS. Use capital letters as the password is case sensitive. You will be automatically directed each and every time to the setup page. As you can see, the setup page is viewable on one screen. You don't need to scroll to the right or scroll down in order to enter data. This makes the setup process very quick and very user-friendly. So let's begin the setup process, and we'll start by completing the retail pricing on the F&I products. As you can see, there are 8 F&I products already hard-coded into the program, and you have an additional 9 that you can enter depending on the needs of the dealership. So for the vehicle protection plan, in this example, let's make the retail pricing $19.95. And we'll make the prepaid maintenance $5.95, the gap protection $7.95, tire and wheel protection $5.95, along with the edge protection. Let's make the paint and fabric protection $6.95, along with the paintless dent repair and the excess wear and tear. Let's add one additional product for illustration purposes. We'll make that retail price $8.95, and let's label that product Low Jack. If you are going to be offering Low Jack, it's important to put it in a product offering number 9, because when we get to the product setup portion, it'll put over the product descriptions very quickly. Next, we need to determine if we want to show pricing on any of the menus. This is accomplished independently in each menu. So for example, in the finance menu we'll say no, and in the lease menu we'll say no, but we'll say yes to the cash menu, and we'll say yes to the balloon menu. Now we understand that most manufacturers do not offer balloon payment options, but in the event you do work for a dealership that has balloon payments, it's already built into the program. Then we move on to the taxation column. Each state is different depending on which products are taxable. So for this example, we will tax the etch and we will tax the Low Jack. Now where it says enter menu names, as you can see by default, each menu column has a name already hard copied. Option 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, you may want to change those names. Perhaps you want to call it platinum, gold, silver, bronze, whatever. Just type them in, uncheck the box, and that information will carry over not only to the product setup area, but to the menus themselves. When you enter your name will appear on the menu that menu is prepared by you. We also have some nice options available for your cash menu. So first, do we want to show the net cash due with products? That's typically the setup process for most cash menus, and we'll answer yes. However, if you did want to show only the product pricing, you either leave this field blank or type in no. We also have the ability to show first payment quote. This is great if you want to do a finance conversion by giving a cash menu. So in this example, so we can illustrate how that's accomplished, we'll say yes. Keep in mind that this first payment quote is going to be based on the first term and APR option when you set this information up. Now let's move to the product setup for each individual menu. Again, this is only an example. Keep in mind that any area with a yellow background you're in full control of, and it's 100% editable. The whole goal and concept of this is to create a menu that is truly customizable based on the customer's driving habits and the dealership needs. So let's set this up with vehicle protection plan first, then prepaid maintenance. Let's put tire and wheel protection in the third product. Then we'll put our gap protection. Let's go with etch protection. And then let's put in Low Jack and keep our security related products grouped. And let's keep our appearance related products grouped as well. Let's hit our arrow to assist in the setup process, and it moves over the products accordingly. On the lease menu, let's start with excess wear and tear. And just for simplicity, we'll just follow the product order with the exclusion of vehicle protection plan and gap on the lease menu. We'll assume that in this scenario that the lease is included with gap protection already. Now we're going to hit our arrow to move the products order, and we have a little editing to do. So because we understand that lease products affect your payments significantly on a lease, typically due to the shorter term nature of a lease, let's remove 2 products in the option 2 column. Now let's remove the 2 security related products in option 3. Now let's end the last column with 2 products. So on the cash menu, we'll follow the product order of your finance menu, and obviously we'll exclude gap protection. And we'll move the products over by clicking the arrow, and we'll remove 2 products in the cash menu as well. Kind of follow the logic that we set up in the lease menu, ending in 2 products. Now for your balloon, we're going to illustrate that even though you may not have a balloon payment option in your dealership, just so you can see what it looks like. And we'll follow the same product setup of a finance menu. So there you have it. We've completely set up 4 different menu templates. Before we actually put in a sample deal, we have one more task to do in relation to the setup process. And the goal of all this is so that when we save this menu and you reopen it from your desktop, wherever you stored the file, it opens up in this fashion and becomes your default menu. If for some reason down the road you'd like to change your product order in any of the menus or your product pricing or a combination thereof, feel free to do so. Save the menu that way, reopen it, and that has become your new default menu. So let's go to the products. Now as you can see, we have products on the left and products on the right. The products on the left are the 8 products that are already hard-coded into the program. If we go to the drop-down, we see our term and mileage options. But these are adjustable based on your service contract provider's term and mileage options. Merely fill them in. If for some reason you have a term and mileage option that you don't see, you can manually type into this field here without removing any of the options that you have populated down below. So this process, this methodology is similar on all the products, including your levels of coverage, your product descriptions. So as we scroll down, you'll see the other products, and that's where you're going to be writing in your level of coverages, term mileage options, etc. Again, you're in 100% control of how you want these products defined. Now on the right side are your 9 additional products. The first field is filled out because we did type in LoJack. Remember I told you that the product descriptions would be easy, and that's why we want to put the LoJack in field number 9. So let's click this button where it says LoJack descriptions. So they automatically populate. If for some reason you want to change the description, feel free, change it up. You can always press the button again. Now the first click is going to bring it back to enter data here, or enter here. That is only a reminder that those 4 fields should be filled out. So for illustration purposes, we're going to leave the product descriptions in LoJack in the default. Hit our back arrow, and let's put in an example deal. Now we're going to fill in all the fields so that we can view what a completed menu looks like. But in reality, you're going to fill in a very limited amount of information to populate your menu. Obviously the customer and model information, and then if you have a finance or cash, you'd fill out this top portion and so forth. It's typically takes about a minute, maybe 2, once you have your default menu set up to populate the information. There is no menu that is faster than this menu, especially when the editing is on the fly and immediate. And we'll demonstrate that as we go through this tutorial. So let's view the end result. Let's take a look at the finance menu first. So as you can see, the finance menu is well laid out, very logical, very professional. At the very top portion, we have our disclosure information along with the base payment. to keep us in compliance with Regulation Z. We did leave the default column names of option 1, 2, 3, 4, and as I mentioned, if you did change that, they would change accordingly in each column. The product headers have a light gray background, and then you can see the product descriptions. We have our payment options at the very bottom, and as we scroll down with our mouse, we see where the customer would initial and sign, and we do have a print option because the menu is on what we call page 1. There's another page below, which is a dynamic waiver. Let's take a look at that waiver. So in addition to the menu, you have a waiver. It's going to show, depending on how you set this up, the offered products, what the customer accepted, and the customer declined products. It's also going to reduce it down to a per day, per week, and per month payment differential. This is a great way to get back in the game and perform a last upsell attempt, because let's face it, by the time you're using this waiver, you probably have gone through a few objection handling, and you've probably heard no a few times, and this is really our last option to capture another product or two. So how do we know which products the customer chose and declined? It's real simple. We had defaulted this to option 4, but let's say, for example, the customer chose option 3. Just merely click off the button, scroll down, and now we can see the products that have been selected and the products that have been declined. This waiver works the same for the other 3 menus, and we'll review as we go through. So let's go back. Let's look at our lease menu. As you can see, the configuration of all the menus are very similar. We obviously have different disclosures at the top and different product order. We also chose not to show the pricing information on the lease menu. The lease is going to give the one payment and term quote per column. Scroll down, we have the same options for signature, print, and also the print waiver. Now, let's assume in this scenario that the customer chose option 4. You heard me mention on the fly immediate. You can see it just happened. Let's go back and say that for some reason we need to show this customer his pricing information. Let's change this to yes, go back to the lease menu. It's immediate. Let's go back and take a look at a cash menu, and keep in mind we did default the cash menu to show the pricing. So there you go, we have our disclosure information at the top along with the pricing, but we also have the total due with optional products, which is one of the setup questions, along with the first payment option. Let's say for some reason you did not want to give this particular cash customer his first payment option. We merely go back. You can either type in no from the drop down or delete it entirely. Go back to the cash menu, and that payment option, as you can see, is gone. And let's assume for this example that the customer chose option 2. You can see the accepted products and the 2 declined products as well. Let's move on to the balloon menu, which in appearance looks very similar to the lease menu. You have your disclosure at the top. Again, the same singular payment and term quote per column. And the print waiver works exactly the same. Let's assume again option 4. You can see the products that have been selected and what's been declined. So let's say you have to do a custom quote, and you finally close a customer on a finance menu, and we have one product, and that's all we could capture. But we still want that customer to sign off on a menu. And in this case, we wound up showing the retail pricing. Let's take a look. So again, it's immediate. There is no menu that is quicker than the Excelerated menu. Let's move back. So in closing, we just have a few other things to cover. We do have individual deletion buttons, as you can see, depending on what your need is. And as I mentioned before, the best part about it is you're in full control of the setup, and it's extremely user-friendly and quick. That concludes our tutorial on Excelerated Menu. For more information on pricing, download instructions, terms of use, please visit our website. Thank you.